Well, another UFC controversial decision of the year. I mean, this year has been full of them, but this has to be one of the worst in a while because honestly, though I usually do not complain about robberies, the way I look at MMA fights is honestly you should try to get the finish because you never know with judging. Judging can be so weird, it can be so subjective that your goal should be to finish the fight. Like, you shouldn't count on winning a decision. However, there are a few times where I say, hey, this is just straight up unfair, like the Patty situation. I thought that the Patty judging was honestly one of the worst of a recent time, and this has to be up there because this is actually a robbery. I do not know how anybody could have Amir Albazi winning this fight, but we're going to talk about it here. Welcome back, guys, to a brand new video. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and let me know in the comment section below, how did you score this fight? I'm curious to see how you guys had the score. I'm going to go into how I scored the fight in a second, but like I said, hit the subscribe button because we are almost at 12K. We're trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of the month, which I think is possible, but we got to hurry up because now we got less than 30 days. Guys, let's try to get to my goal. Try to support me, try to share the video, and without further ado, let's just get into this video. Alright, Kai Kara-France, Amir Albazi. Now, this was a fight that was a big game changer for the flyweight division. Kai Kara-France has taken a lot of time off, trains with Israel Adesanya, trains in a high-level gym. Last lost to Brandon Moreno, lost via TKO in the third round with a body shot. This was supposed to be his big comeback fight, and he's fighting a lower-ranked contender, Amir Albazi, who I think did showcase a lot of skill in this fight. You know, this wasn't like one of those fights where, you know, Kai Kara-France was close to finishing him, and while I think that Kai Kara-France won a lot of the rounds, I just think that this is a full-blown robbery, and a lot of these rounds you have to ask for. You know, a judge gave Amir Albazi the first 3 rounds. Like, that's just a ridiculous scoring to me. I'm gonna go into how I scored the fight. Now, the first 2 rounds I scored for Kai Kara-France. Now, I thought that this was a pretty easy 2 rounds to judge, and going into the third when Amir Albazi did so well, you know, I was just thinking, man, that would suck if Kai Kara-France got submitted despite having 2 really good rounds. And then after the third round, he had a really good 4th and 5th round. Like, that second round, okay, it is a little bit close, and the first round's a little bit close, but I did give those rounds to Kai Kara-France. I also gave 4 and 5 to Kai Kara-France. So for me, I had a 4-1 for Kai Kara-France, or at worst 3-2. But somehow, if you guys don't already know, the judges gave it to Amir Albazi. Now, we've seen situations like this before. Like I said, the Patty situation, we've had a lot of bad judging. This was a full-blown robbery, and once again, we're talking about judging and how this thing needs to be fixed. You guys have heard my solution before, but if you guys don't know, my solution forever has been that we need to change the scoring system. Look, guys, if you look at a fight with Volkanovski and Islam, I don't think it's fair for Volkanovski to have such a dominant round in round 5, but for that to count just as much as a very close Islam win in round 1. Both of them would just be scored 10-9. I think we need a little bit more differential in scoring, maybe add some more 10-8s, more 10-7. My suggestion has always been, first of all, to accept 10-10 rounds. Sometimes it's even. Other times, you know, close rounds get a 10-9, so if Islam edges a round against Alexander Volkanovski, then you give him a 10-9 round. But let's just say that Kai Kara-France clearly wins a round against Amir Albazi. Let's take like the 4th or 5th round, undebatably. Then you would score that a 10-8. And for dominant rounds, basically 10-8 rounds, there's now going to be 10-7. That's always been my solution. I think we need more versatility in terms of these numbers and how we're scoring fights. And that has always been my issue, but honestly, that is just one problem because sadly, the biggest problem in judging are the judges themselves. A lot of them aren't necessarily educated on mixed martial arts. There needs to be a better vetting process in terms of who's judging these fights. Do these guys even know anything about what's going on? Do they do more than just read a handbook? We need people that know MMA, and yes, it's hard because MMA fans do have their biases, but we need to figure out a way to really hold the judges accountable and ask the judges, hey, why did you score the first 3 rounds for Amir Albazi, and hear an explanation. Maybe have the transcript to the interviews be available to the public so the public could also understand the reasoning. There's so many things with judging that is just so complicated, and it sucks. It really does suck because I do want to see good judging in the sport. That's number one thing, although I think that sometimes it's kind of a fighter's fault for relying on a decision, but you're also supposed to be expecting fairness, so there needs to be fixes within the commission. But all I'm trying to say is a fighter shouldn't necessarily depend on a judge. That's the commission's job, to make sure that the judge scores the fight right. The fighter can't rely on the judge because sadly, people are dumb, judges are dumb, referees are dumb, people make mistakes all the time, and you can't necessarily rely on it because this was a massive robbery. And honestly, we've had some pretty bad scorecards. Like, remember, only a few months ago, we had that terrible Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Vera fight where the fight was good, but the scorecards weren't as good. It was a split decision despite Corey Sandhagen debatably winning all 5 rounds. Marlon Vera somehow was able to win on a judge's scorecard. Absolutely insanity. That should not have been a split decision. There's a whole bunch of bad decisions. Like I said, Patty is one of the worst ones in recent times, and they're in Vegas. Like, this isn't even like a Texas situation or they're in another commission. This is supposed to be where the UFC is. Like, this is supposed to be their town where they run things, and it's even bad there. So it just makes me worry. There's a lot of problems with judging. In terms of the fight, I thought the fight was a good fight. I thought both guys showed off a lot of skill. Kai Kara-France France obviously to me winning the fight, showing good takedown defense, as well as showing a lot of his good striking and his right hand landing a lot. But we also saw Amir Albazi be able to showcase his grappling and really getting Kai France in trouble, especially in round 3. Like, I thought it was over in round 3. I thought he had the choke at one point. The arm was like literally right by the neck, but Kai France was able just to move it with his strength, and he got out of the rear naked choke attempt. I was very surprised by that. In terms of who's next, I don't think Kai France should be too deterred. I think he should definitely get like a middle level guy, like a number 5 type guy. Maybe even a fight with Deiveson Figueiredo if he's coming back to flyweight. Maybe the winner against Manel Kape versus Muhammad Mokaev. Maybe Matthias Nicolau. There's a lot of good options for Kai France at the moment. They could even try to reschedule that Alex Perez fight. And for Amir Albazi, I think despite this being a clear robbery, I think that we need to see him kind of fight again in the top of the division. Maybe get a guy around the top 5 as well. Maybe he gets the winner of Manel Kape versus Muhammad Mokaev, or he gets Alex Perez. I don't mind, him getting Alex Perez, Kai France getting the winner of Manel Kape versus Muhammad Mokaev if that fight happens, which are kind of going back and forth on Twitter right now. I think the flyweight division right now is at an all-time great. I mean, the flyweight division is super exciting. This fight was a banger. Expect more flyweight main events after this because they deserve it. Great fights from the flyweight division. It's no longer the dead division. This is definitely a division, especially with a superstar like Brandon Moreno, with a lot of people liking him. This division is on fire as we speak. A lot of great talent coming up, so I'm excited. Kai France does have quite a few losses now. He has a loss to Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi. I'd wonder how well he would do against Deiveson Figueiredo, so it's not really looking too good for Kai France in my opinion, but he did win this fight in my opinion. He deserved the win, and if he would have won, he would have probably got a number 1 contenders fight or something like that, especially depending on how Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Moreno 2 happens in July. We could have honestly seen him fight next for the title if he would have won this fight, and that's why judging is so important. And I'll leave it at this for today. Judging is so important, and getting judging right is so important because this affects people's career. A wrong decision could cost Kai France millions, and I'm not exaggerating, millions. He could have fought for the belt next. He could have beaten Alexandre Pantoja, gotten pay-per-view points for the next fight, be the champion, get popularity, become a name. That is what's wrong with the judging, and that's why it is such a big deal. This isn't as simple as like, oh, this person didn't win the fight even though he deserved it. It's not necessarily just that. Like, people are going to lose a lot. Like, all it took for the Corey Sandhagen fight is for another dumb judge to score for Marlon Vera, and Corey Sandhagen, a fight that he worked incredibly hard for, improved his game, absolutely outclassed Marlon Vera, would have lost out on a potential title shot just because of someone else that does know how to do their job. It is wrong, and it sucks for the athletes because there isn't much they could do. It's really up to the state athletic commissions as well as the UFC to help work with them and realize how bad this judging problem is. A lot of people had the fight for Kai France. I think we need to hold judges accountable as well as kind of have a new judging system. I mean, the judging system itself is based off another sport, boxing. We need one dedicated to mixed martial arts. In boxing, the scoring is a lot easier. If there's a knockdown, you get a 10-8. If someone wins a round, it's a 10-9 without a knockdown. If there's 2 knockdowns, it's a 10-7. There's a lot of built-in rules already to boxing that you can't necessarily just all apply to mixed martial arts, and that's the problem. There needs to be a lot of fixes in the system, and I hate people that say, oh, fix judging, yet give no solutions. So I at least want to give some ideas. Maybe these are shit ideas, and you guys could tell me that I'm chatting out of my ass and don't know what I'm talking about, and these are terrible ideas, but I'm giving ideas. A lot of you guys just complain. Not really you guys, because if you watch the channel, you guys are normal people and great people and probably have 1,000 IQ, but for people that don't, and for people on Twitter that just chat about judging, don't offer any solutions or have no idea what they're even talking about, haven't even tried to look at solutions or good ideas, it's a problem to me. And look, you could disagree, but at least I'm coming up with something. But guys, I think that's gonna conclude this video, this rant. I'm sorry guys, judging just gets me so annoyed, especially in a case like this where Kai France, in my opinion, clearly deserved the win. No doubts about it. I think most people have it for Kai France. Could I see an argument for Amir Albazi? I'm sure you can make an argument. However, I just think it's a rough argument to make. It's definitely a tough argument to try to make to me. Kai France deserved the win. His career is definitely on the line. If he loses another one, that's 3 losses in a row to Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi, and then another contender. It's rough. You're affecting people's career. It sucks, but that's just how the game goes. I'm hoping that there's some sort of fix. Mixed martial arts, luckily, is still a pretty young sport, even though the UFC has been around for 30 years. Compare it to, the NFL, basketball. I mean, those sports have been around for almost 80 years. There's been so many mistakes that they've constantly had to fix and fix and fix. It'll get to a point, at some point, where I think a lot of these issues will be fixed, especially as more people are getting more educated with the rule set and how things go. But that's gonna conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, we're trying to get to 12K by June, 20K by the end of the year, so hit the subscribe button because I know a lot of you guys watch but don't subscribe. So hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.